G'day everyone, Jerry here from Succulent Flytraps. In today's video, I'll be doing a nursery update, just to give you guys a bit of an idea of how my carnivorous plants are looking like at this time of the year. All of my temperate carnivorous plants, such as Venus flytraps and North American pitcher plants, are going into their necessary dormancy phase with winter just around the corner. I also can't wait to show you some brand new additions to my nursery, from various species of sundews to beautiful cultivars of North American pitcher plants, including this Darner's Delight. I just love how these almost fluorescent pink pitchers contrast with the green base of those pitchers. It really is a gorgeous cultivar, so we'll be having a bit of a closer look at this one as well. My name is Jerry from Succulent Flytraps, your carnivorous plants nursery. Alright, let's have a look at the nursery. These are old fence panels here that we had to remove so we can put in our aluminium louver fence. Okay, so this is how it looks like. I love how at this time of the year the leaves change colour. You get the North American pitcher plants with their leaves starting to sort of change colour and brown off. It's late autumn now. I think we've got another week before winter comes in, but still a very nice time of the year to be here. All these ones over here are brand new additions. I've got this one over here, which is a Sarracenia leucophila. It looks like it's a hybrid. Have a look at these pictures. Love that variegation there and those white windows there in the pictures. I only got these around about 2 months ago, so they've been freshly potted. Look at this one over here. Gorgeous. Again, just love that red and white contrast in those pictures. That's what that one is over here. Okay, over here, this is Darner's Delight. This is characterized by their almost fluoro pink pitchers, and you can see just how beautifully colored those pitchers are. Look at the color, how bright pink it is. That's how it looks like at the back. There's another picture over here. This one was bought around about 4 weeks ago. I bought it myself and it's settled in quite nicely. I'm going to have to divide that in late winter. Over here, another new addition. This one is a Sarracenia rubra crossed with a minor hybrid. This one's really exciting. Look how this is almost like orange coloured, red orange, and look at the shape of those pitchers. The top is really elongated and it really is a lovely plant. Love all those different colours in there. You've got the purple around the ribbing around the edge here. You've got those red orange tops of the pitchers. Can't wait for this one to get established. Over here I've got some seeds that I've experimented with. These are tuberous Drosera seeds. So for those of you who don't know, tuberous Drosera plants, they go dormant in the summer where it's dry. So it's important to keep the peat moss dry, and they come out in winter. And I've actually got one over here which I'll be showing you in a sec. But these ones are just seeds, as I said, and these are the names of the plants. And I've just got that into 2 parts sand to 1 part peat moss. And I've just used this see-through container, and I've just got that sitting in water, so hopefully that's going to come up with some seedlings pretty soon. Over here I've got my pumice stone planter, which I created with various species of sundews. Since it's been quite cold here, we've had temperatures around about say 6 degrees Celsius. So some of these are starting to feel the effects, and you can tell when you're looking at this Drosera pygmaea, some of the leaves are starting to sort of die off around the edges. This is a tropical sundew. You can see how it's starting to fray around the edges as well. And this is the Drosera speculata and Drosera venusta. Over here is another pumice stone planter. Here's a photo of what this plant looked like in the warmer months. It's hard to believe that this is what the plant looks like now. It's completely normal, of course, because winter's just around the corner, and being a plant that comes from temperate areas, it does go into its dormancy mode, its necessary dormancy mode, and the summer-autumn leaves are starting to brown off, and they're being replaced with these winter leaves or winter traps. Over here I'm experimenting with sphagnum moss. I've just got that into this takeaway container. I've got some water down the bottom here, and I've just got some pieces of sphagnum moss, and I've just got that sitting here in this water. So the lid's on, and that keeps the moisture in, so I don't have to worry about re-watering it. I just want to see how this sphagnum moss goes, if it goes at all. Over here I've got this gorgeous Drosera speculata plants. So this is the Wentworth Falls version. This form grows up in Wentworth Falls in the Blue Mountains, so it's sort of used to the colder temperatures. And despite the cold nights we've been getting, these ones aren't so affected. Here's another one over here. Of course I've got my Venus Flytraps. Again, you can see all these summer autumn leaves browning off and then replaced with these winter leaves or winter traps. This is the Akai Roo. This is a G16 times G14 trap. That's a beautiful trap over there. That's probably about 3.5 centimeters long. And of course I've got Cape Sundews. This is a little red miniature form. But you can see that same theme happening with a lot of the plants. The summer leaves starting to brown off. Okay, let's have a look over here. Okay, now I just wanted to show you this one over here. This is a tuberous sundew. There's two of them here, and this is the actual species. It's the same species for both, and as I said earlier, they go dormant in the summer, the hot summer season. So it's where it's dry, and in the winter they come up with new growth, and this is them emerging now. It's the first time I've had these tuberous sundews, but I'm going to do a more informative video about these later on as they develop and as I get used to looking after them. But because they're so new, I'm just really excited, and it's just really great to see them emerging just as the winter comes in. Okay, I can't wait to show you this one over here. Have a look at this, guys. This is a Drosera regia, otherwise known as the king sundew. And again, it's brand new, and that's the tag there. But just have a look at these long leaves. These leaves are around about, say, 30 centimeters long, some of them. But it's known as the king sundew for a reason. It's because it's so large. It's the largest, I think, in the Drosera genus. And you can just see just how long and slender these leaves are. Absolutely gorgeous. So that was potted around about 6 weeks ago, and seems to be settling okay. But yeah, first time I've seen these. I used to read about these a lot in Carnivorous Plants by Adrian Slack, and I can't believe I actually got one here in front of me growing at my nursery. Can't wait to see it develop in the warmer months. Okay, more new additions over here. This one over here is this one. Look how yellow green those pictures are. And of course, in contrast, you got this one over here. That's the name of this one. And looking spectacular, especially when you see them together like that. What a nice contrast they have. Over here is another new addition. That's what that is. Now, I think when it says this free, it means that there's no, it's just basically green. It's green coloration in those leaves, and that's what this is. And it's very, very tiny pictures. Look at that. They're only, it's my fingers there, so it gives you an idea of how small they are, but it's a very, very unique plant. And I've got two more divisions over there in the other pots. Of course, I've got my Cape Sundews over here with all their seeds, capsules. There's even one over here which is developing. Because we're getting these these cold nights now that winter's approaching, I don't expect these flower capsules to develop. They pretty much just sort of stay suspended in animation. They don't sort of develop because it gets really, really cold. And being from subtropical areas, they do get affected by these cold nights. Over here, I've got my water tray Carnivorous Plants miniature garden. I've had that for a couple of years. A lot of the main plants, like the big mouth Venus Flytraps and the Drosera Banata tea form plants, have gone dormant. And now that they're dormant, the sphagnum moss is growing very, very nicely indeed. Okay, more Venus Flytraps. Okay, so let's just go over onto the other side. Over here are the Drosera Banata tea form plants I was talking about. You can see how they've just died down to the roots, which is normal around about this time of the year. They just pretty much go dormant and they just die from the stem and then die down to the roots. They're still pretty much alive, but just how they react to the colder temperatures. I've had to unpot some rhizomes because there was a few purchases late in the season for big mouth Venus Flytraps, and I've just had to repot these. Move along over here, more Cape Sundews. Over here I've got some Drosera pygmaea, and they're endemic here in Sydney, Australia, and they're starting to sort of get affected by the colder nights as well. See how they're sort of fraying around the edges. They're still going to be pretty much alive, but they just don't look the best around winter. And as it gets warmer again, they'll kind of come up with beautiful new shoots. Now, this Drosera Sarracenia, which I think comes from South Africa. They really have withstood these cooler nights better. I can't see much fraying around the edges around the leaves, but look at the red coloration of those leaves. And over here as well. So they're looking quite good. Okay, moving along. More Venus flytraps with their winter leaves. Now over here, of course, I've got my Albany pitcher plants. They're looking really nice. They do actually slow down their growth in winter. They do sort of go through a dormancy period, so I'm expecting them to sort of just chill out as well. Looking quite nice. Over here, of course, I've got the new additions of Sundews. I received these around about 2 months ago now, and they've settled in quite nicely. Drosera admirabilis, I think this one is. Same as that one over here. This one over here is a, whoops, what's this one over here? This one is a, whoops, I'm not sure what that one is. I think it's no, not sure. I'll find out what that one is later on, but that's what it looks like. And I've got the Cape Sundew over here, the albino form. It's white coloured leaves. There's no red in there at all. That's coming up with a flower stalk. Don't know how far that's going to go with these cold nights. And that's what it looks like looking back. And of course, these are the North American pitcher plants. I've got them all over on this side because the sun sets over here and then, sorry, sun rises over here and then sets over in that direction. It makes sense to have the tall plants over here and the shorter ones over here. Just maximizes the light for all the plants. Have a look at this one over here. This is a Drosera, not a Drosera, Sarracenia leucophila white vein variety. Those white coloured pitchers, they really do contrast nicely. So Sarracenia leucophila typically produce their best pitchers around autumn, and that's why you're seeing so many white coloured pitchers here, being late autumn now. Of course, you also see some browning off, which is normal. These ones over here, this is a hybrid Sarracenia leucophila. Those white coloured pitchers, you can still see them, but they're starting to brown off. And some of these pitchers over here, look at this picture over here. This one's around about, look down the base here, that's probably about 70 centimetres tall. So, yeah. Over here, I've got a white, you can see a Sarracenia flava rubricorpora variety. You can see these flat leaves, non-carnivorous leaves, and these are called Phylodia, which is normal. And this is what the rubricorpora pitchers look like. They're smaller than the ones that produced in spring, but looking quite nice. You can see all the different colours of those leaves and pitchers as the sun filters through it. So even though it's late in the season, the different coloured pitchers and leaves really do have a nice effect. So just moving along over here, I'm just going to show you now some sphagnum moss that I'm experimenting with. Just coming along over here. Over here, have a look at that sphagnum moss. I've just got that growing in some shade cloth, which is just placed in water. So it's very simple. Just put your shade cloth in there, put that in water, and then just put pieces of sphagnum moss in there and give it a little bit of light. This is getting a little bit of filtered light from these North American pitcher plants over here on the left, and it's looking quite lush. See all those new green shoots? And eventually what I want to do is cut up that sphagnum moss and put that into pots, and it actually makes a very good medium for propagating seeds. So I'm going to do some experimentation with that, but I'm so far happy with the way the sphagnum moss looks. Over here, this is a Drosera Adelaide, and this one comes from Queensland, which is north here of New South Wales in Australia. And as far as I know, it sort of grows in semi-shade environments. That's why I've got it here, getting filtered light again from the North American pitcher plants, and it's looking quite healthy. Very unique. I love those long, slender leaves, and it's getting that semi-shade environment, and it's looking quite good. Just potted around about 6 weeks ago now, and it's settling in quite nicely. So yeah, that's the nursery, the way it looks at this time of the year. Stay tuned for new videos, and I should be getting some new cultivars of Venus flytraps in the next growing season. That's why I've got this space here available, so looking forward to getting them and hopefully putting them online so there's a little bit more variety. So there you have it. You have a bit of an idea of how the plants are looking like. Now for winter care, you basically just leave them where they are. You don't have to move them into any special place. In terms of watering, you don't have to give them so much water. The whole idea is to keep the peat moss damp, but you don't have to have it soaking wet. You don't want to have your finger in there and to be soaking wet, okay? By not having it too wet, you reduce the likelihood of any mold growing around those dry traps, those summer traps, which have started to brown off. Now, with the case of Venus flytraps, as you saw, those summer autumn traps were dying off, and they were replaced with winter traps, winter leaves. That's normal. As I said, they need to go through that necessary dormancy period. With North American pitcher plants, remember that they have to go through that necessary dormancy phase. Eventually, all those pitchers which were produced in the earlier months will start to eventually brown off. You can leave them on there if you want, but I just tend to just cut them off. It's more neater, and it does pave the way for new growth eventually. I will be producing a video later on in the winter about how I go about removing those traps. Now, another thing to be aware of, guys, if you're growing subtropical or tropical sundews, so subtropical sundews could be Drosera capensis or Drosera spatulata, any of those sundews which don't come from those temperate areas, so they don't like to have temperatures which are too cold, then they may get affected by these cooler nights. And you saw that there in my nursery. Even those Drosera capensis, even though we're producing those flower stalks, they don't know anything about dormancy, they just keep going, but they will slow down their growth. And as you saw as well, some of those sundews like Drosera pygmaea, they were starting to fray around the edges because the cool nights will start to affect them. Now, just be aware of that, guys, and you should be okay. Eventually what will happen, even though they may not look the best in winter, they will come up in early spring, or any seeds which are there, which subtropical and tropical sundews love to produce, they will start to sprout as the warm weather arrives. So until next time, everyone, happy growing.